We have not seen the indictment. We think we know what's coming, but we don't know the actual parameters of it. We're told by Trump's lawyer, one of them, Jim Trusty, we believe it has 7 counts around the Espionage Act, around alleging multiple false statements, and a conspiracy to obstruct justice. So let me ask you for your overall take on what we've heard so far and the charges against Donald Trump, on which he will be arraigned this Tuesday in a Miami federal courtroom.
I'm not surprised. In my book, Get Trump, I predicted exactly this. I said he would not be indicted for merely possessing classified material, because then they would have to distinguish the case from Biden and from Pence and from Hillary Clinton and from Sandy Berger, that they would go after him on process crimes, and that they would probably use the espionage statute, the hated espionage statute, the statute that liberals have condemned for 100 years because it was used to go after Eugene V. Debs, war protesters, dissidents, etc. Now these same liberal Democrats are embracing the statute, saying expand it, extend it. And so there's nothing surprising about the fact that there's been an indictment. It's a big deal, though, because a federal indictment, which could prove to be very compelling, depending on what the evidence is far different than the phony state Mickey Mouse indictment that was rendered by District Attorney Bragg. That was laughable. This is not laughable. There's one piece of evidence that could be very serious. If there is, in fact, a tape recording, as apparently there is, in which the former president says, showing some material to some writer, I could have declassified this, meaning I didn't declassify it. If we get access, or if the prosecution gets access to that document, and it is as explosive as some have surmised, maybe dealing with attack plans against Iran. And if, in fact, the person who got it was not only shown it, but given it to read, that could be a serious violation of the Espionage Act. The rest seems like it's just typical prosecution going after people, not telling the truth to an agent, conspiracy to obstruct justice. It's the Espionage Act and that particular tape, which I think poses the greatest danger to Trump. But I think the greatest danger is posed to the American people. What we're seeing is both sides now weaponizing the criminal justice system. And I think the election of 2024 will be the first time in American history that the campaigns will be, oh, they're more criminal than we are. No, they're more criminal than we are. I just think that this idea of weaponizing the system against both the Bidens and against Trump is a serious, serious mistake and endangers the rule of law.
Okay, I agree with you on all of that. But I do want to take a look at the specifics of the criminal charges as lawyers, sure. Just to, the lawyers don't get to go into court and say, this is an outrage. You didn't charge Hillary Clinton. Right. They're going to have to actually take a look at the elements and defend. And I think that's very interesting. Like, can they make the charge? Even if we don't like the prosecution, can they make it?
Yes.
Let's first of all, can we just talk about the fact that this is being brought in Miami instead of D.C.? Because they had a grand jury in D.C. They had a grand jury in D.C. Then more recently, they opened one up in Miami. And that's better for Trump. For sure, it's better for Trump if he's going to have to be tried in Florida than D.C. But, well, how did that happen?
Well, I think the prosecution realized they'd have a real fight on their hands if they tried to indict in the District of Columbia. It would look like forum shopping and judge shopping, and they probably wanted to avoid that. The essence of the alleged crimes did take place in Florida, and therefore that's the appropriate venue. Also, the luck of the draw. Apparently, Trump got a judge who he appointed. Now,
that's good for him.
Appointed have ruled against him, obviously, as well. But it's good for the system that it's in Florida and that it's a judge he appointed, if that judge stays with the case, because it will make it less likely that Trump could just say, oh, this is all a fix. Maybe we'll get a semblance of justice. So I'm glad it's in Florida. And I'm glad it's in front of a judge who at least is not somebody with a record of Trump hating.
Yeah. Do we know how she got the case, Judge Eileen Cannon, a Trump appointee? She got this assignment.
Unless she got it through the wheel, there's a real problem. Obviously, all judges in all federal criminal cases should be selected randomly through the wheel and should not be selected based on prior experiences in related cases, which sometimes happen. So I hope she was picked through the wheel.
Okay. And then the magistrate judge, who is the judge who's kind of underneath the district court judge, is somebody who's familiar with this case as well. They've both had prior dealings. She was appointed as a special master last year to review the material seized from Mar-a-Lago. Then the magistrate judge, again, lower than she is on the totem pole, Bruce Reinhart, he also had a prior dealing with this. He signed off on the initial search warrant of Mar-a-Lago. I do believe he's a Republican. I remember looking at that, but of course Trump didn't like him. Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. It's not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing upfront. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, even those who took PPP loans and even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Now let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.